Hi there, Natalia. So nice to see that you've written more essays. Great work. Let's take a look at what you've done. Leaving rural areas to study or work, why, and benefits or disadvantages. Let's see what you said. Experts throughout both the developing and developed world have debated. You can't make this a question here, so let's fix it. Have debated what the causes for the migration of young people from the countryside to the urban areas are. You see, this is an indirect question, and you can't really make it a direct question. So you have to change it around so that it looks like sentence form, okay? And then, of course, there's no question mark at the end. We don't start sentences with and, okay? Yeah, I know. You probably see a lot in like magazines or on websites and stuff like that. But the fact is it's incorrect. And as far as IELTS is concerned, it's definitely forbidden. So no and. Let's see. So we fixed this sentence. Also, so let's change, instead of the and, let's say also, under debate are the pros and cons of this situation. Full stop. This essay will discuss both sides using examples from the Colombian government and migration to demonstrate points and prove arguments. All right, fine. There is ample evidence that supports the idea that a big percentage of the population that moves from the countryside to the big cities is for educational purpose. Okay, I like that it's nice and clear. That's good. That's well done. However, look at this. You've got this lovely word here, this lovely vocabulary, ample evidence, and then you use a word like big. As far as I'm concerned, in IELTS, big is a word that we should avoid. So there are certain words like big, small, nice, bad, good. We should really avoid, basically because there's so many other higher level words that do the same function, that have the same function, but really are just so much nicer sounding. So you could have said considerable percentage, a sizable percentage, okay? So let's try it. There is ample evidence that supports the idea that a considerable percentage of the population that moves from the countryside to the large cities, okay, is for educational purposes, plural. It is important to understand that some of the farmers want to improve their agricultural business, and the education offered in the field is low, okay? Or how about this? And the educational level offered in the field is very low. For that reason, they are forced to look for other alternatives, like moving temporarily to other places. For instance, if the owners of cane guaca, the biggest producers of sugar cane in Colombia, had not sent their children to the university, they would not have the opportunity to get all the precision systems that they have in their farm, which allows them to be recognized worldwide. Okay, this is great. You've done this really kind of complicated conditional with you even have a relative clause combined there. You did it very successfully. So that's a hard piece of grammar, and you've done a really nice job with it. So good work. Therefore, it is conclusively clear that some of the migrations, okay, are strategies to improve systems. Let's see. Okay. What is the reason for this? All right, fine. Now let's see what you did here. Although there is a case to believe that moving from the countryside to the big cities looking for... No, you can't do this really because although requires two parts of a sentence, it's basically like a linker that links two opposite sides of a sentence together. You don't have two sides, okay? You only have one side. So what you want to say instead here is however. However is good if you just have one side and you're just kind of, you know, introducing an alternative point of view. So, however, there is a case to believe that moving from the countryside to the big cities looking for better opportunities has positive sides. That doesn't make sense either, because here you were talking about the positive. So I'm not really sure what you're trying to say here, but let's look at it a little further. By contrast, people arrive to the large towns to raise the rings of poverty and misery when they are not coming from families with a high economic status. Okay, why are we talking about this now? We should be talking about the pros and or the cons. All right, let's see what you did. Let me just keep reading it and maybe I'll... All right, let's see. This should not be when they are not coming. This should be when they do not come. Okay? Simple present here. The central reason behind this is twofold. Here you should have had, if you're going to start with a capital here, there should have been a full stop. You could have had a colon, or you could have had a semicolon as well, but then the next word needed to not be capitalized. Almost all cities in the world do not have the infrastructure and the capacity to accommodate remember big, large amounts of migration. I don't know about this plural migrations here. Secondly, the you know what? Why don't you tell me what you mean by that? What do you mean they don't have the infrastructure and capacity? What's affected? Is it housing that's affected? Is it roads that's affected? So just because you say the infrastructure and the capacity, it doesn't mean that you don't need to develop it. You do. You need to explain specifically what you're referring to. Or give me an example of it. Like, for example, in, I don't know, Mexico City, when a large influx of people from the rural areas entered the city, there were enormous problems in the sewage system or water system or something, okay? All right, secondly, the agricultural sector is affected, or is being affected, fine, by the shortage of labor and people that want to work in the countryside. For example, recent empirical research by the Colombian government demonstrated that almost 85% of people that leave the non-urban areas to cities are living in extreme poverty. Consequently, it is possible to state beyond doubt that the largest drawback to such migration is that countries do not have the capacity to support farmers or indigenous people inside the urban areas. Okay, not two. All right, I'm really confused in this paragraph, Natalia, because I mean, while what you wrote was nice, I don't know, it's not clear what you're answering here. Remember, you're supposed to answer this. Do the benefits of this outweigh the disadvantages? And from the beginning of the paragraph, I've been confused. Okay, so what I've done now is I've read through the paragraph a couple of times and looking for a central meaning. And it looks like you're basically saying that, okay, yeah, people are going into the cities to get better opportunities like education, but really look at the negatives of this. There are a lot of drawbacks. So let's try to restructure these first two sentences in order to indicate the central meaning here. All right? So again, although there is a case to believe that moving from the countryside to the big cities looking for better opportunities is positive, on the whole, such migration can prove negative for the society. All right, that's how you want to do this. And then it fits here. The central reason behind this is twofold. And then it completely makes sense, okay? So you've told me why it happens here, and then here you're saying, yeah, okay, great, but it's a bad thing for this and this reason. Okay, that makes more sense. So what's happening here essentially is your coherence and cohesion is suffering here because your ideas are not clearly laid out. There's not like a logical progression, but also it could affect your task achievement too, because it's in terms of how you develop your essay and how you develop your paragraphs. So something like this, a problem like this where it affects, basically these two sentences affect the rest of the paragraph, could affect the whole thing. Okay, wow, we spent a lot of time on this essay. That's okay. There was another area that I wanted to talk about in this paragraph. Okay, here's what it is. Your example doesn't support your statement. You said the agricultural sector is being affected by the shortage of labor and people that want to work in the countryside. So this doesn't support that. This doesn't explain it. What you want to say as an example instead is that, for example, recent empirical research by the Colombian government demonstrated that production of crops in rural Colombia fell by 40% because of reduced manpower in the fields. All right, that would support this argument, not this. Okay? Okay. Okay, so now let's go quickly through your conclusion and then on to your task 1. From the arguments and examples given, I firmly believe that the migration of young rural people for educational purposes S is very important. Nevertheless, it is important to take into account that if migration is looking for better, that if migration is for looking for better opportunities in big cities, comma, not semicolon, these places normally have neither the infrastructure nor the capacity to accommodate all these people. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Just a couple little awkward areas there in that sentence, but other than that, it's good. Let's move on to your cover letter. Okay. Dear Sir, Madam, comma, specialized in environmental applied science from Melbourne University, I would like to express my interest in the position of agronomist, where I believe I meet all the criteria needed for the role. This is a little strange, starting your sentence out like this. I understand what you're trying to do. It's probably not the best way to do it. What I would like you to do instead is to say, I'm writing regarding the position of agronomist, which I saw in the Indeed.com, I don't know, website, etc., etc., on 12/14/2018. Okay. I am specialized in environmental applied science from Melbourne University, and I believe I meet all the criteria. So something like that, okay? Start off saying why, your purpose for the letter. That's what I'm trying to tell you, Natalia. You always start out these letters stating the purpose, especially in these formal letters. That should be your first sentence, okay? But this, and which you more or less did, but it's just the way you did it was a little awkward. Let's go on. You see, you do the same kind of syntax again, so I'd like you to try to avoid this. So get rid of this part of the sentence, please, and then say, the position of agronomist in your company would be an excellent chance to utilize my experience and demonstrate my capacity to drive projects and challenges towards success. All right, I wouldn't keep this in here at all. Throughout, or maybe in my previous experience, I have gained knowledge in social and environmental awareness and successfully developed the necessary skills to manage people over agronomic challenges. I have a proven track record in sustainable crop plantation, optimization of production problems, while the use of adequate local resources keeps assignments environmentally friendly. All right, that's nice. I like that. I look forward to, here we go, to an opportunity to discuss my application in more detail, no S, show my determination, okay, show my determination and demonstrate that my profile suits both this position and it's related with a D, responsibilities. Yours faithfully, comma, Natalia Gomez, no full stop here. Okay, excuse me. You could have said more about this. Possible qualifications and reasons to be hired. I would have liked to see something a little bit more about your specialization. You could have just beefed that up a little bit with details. Say that you have a master's degree in precision agriculture, or, you know, in sustainable rural development, or I don't know, something. So add a little more to it. Say you have your BA, you have your master's, you've specialized in this. So a little more detail in terms of your qualifications and so forth. Your past experience, I liked that paragraph really a lot. That was really good. I think you could have added a couple of more things here to show that energy and enthusiasm. You did it, yeah, but remember, you really want to embellish each of those bullets as much as you can. So I would have liked to see a little more in that respect. There were some problems in terms of kind of letter writing conventions. You needed a comma here, you needed a comma here, and then no full stop in either place. All right, Natalia. So a handful of things that we talked about in this essay correction. Go ahead and correct them, add to your error correction list, send them back to us, and write new essays. Okay, looking forward to it. So good luck.